Was im Jahr 2008 als kleine Spieleplattform für Liebhaber von Klassikern begann, hat sich in den letzten 10 Jahren zu einer der wichtigsten Vertriebsplattformen für PC-Spiele entwickelt. GOG.com, früher bekannt als Good Old Games, unterzieht Spieleklassiker einer Frischzellenkur und bietet sie ohne Kopierschutz an. Noch heute finden viele AAA-Titel von damals, aber auch aktuelle Spiele mit mittlerem Budget und Indie-Spiele ihren Weg zur Online-Plattform. Damit ist GOG eine wichtige Alternative zu Valves Platzhirsch Steam geworden. Entwickelt wurde es von CD Projekt, den Machern der preisgekrönten Witcher-Reihe und des kommenden Open-World-Rollenspiels Cyberpunk 2077. Die Wurzeln des polnischen Unternehmens reichen indes bis in die Zeit des Kalten Krieges zurück. Im kommunistischen Polen war Softwarepiraterie an der Tagesordnung. Wegen fehlender Urheberrechtsgesetze wurde Software auf Märkten für einen Bruchteil des Preises angeboten. Damals sammelten die Gründer von GOG erste Erfahrungen mit dem Spielehandel. In den 90er Jahren bot CD Projekt dann als erstes Unternehmen legale, ins Polnische übersetzte Versionen an. GOG ist das digitale Erbe des Vertriebsgeschäfts von CD Projekt.
Until '94, so when we started the company, when I co-founded with Michał CD Projekt, you couldn't really easily buy games here. There were some small stores, they had some selection, but just think of it as a super expensive, super niche stuff.
I recall from the late 80s, actually, copyright law was actually established in Poland. Before that, there was no copyright law, so actually it was like no legal software generally available for anyone.
The common thinking was that the value is the hardware. Oh, that's something, you know, I have a card or I have some memory, against a microprocessor, it has some value, but software is for free. And normally was like in, you know, if you look at the classrooms or friends or going to the computer market every weekend here in Warschau, in other cities all around Poland, the main mean was like, hey, I have a new game, okay, let's copy. Everybody was copying. And that was common. It wasn't considered a crime because that's how the market works.
For example, me as a kid, I wasn't exactly aware that it's not legal to go to a bazaar and get a really ugly printout with an empty, no printed CD on there and then playing a game. Like, you know, that was normal.
The Atari had a cassette, right? So actually what was happening, the official radio stations, like the legal radio stations, were at night, they were broadcasting games for Atari or Amiga, which you could actually record on those cassettes and then play them later. So the stuff that I remember from 80s was completely different, you know, from the 90s. The Poland in this regard changed quite a lot.
The general rule of economy is that markets do not accept vacuum. So if there is an empty space, it's being filled with whatever, you know, is possible. And these computer markets initially started like a hobby first. So these computer markets were performing I would say, a function of Facebook, Twitter, eBay, and a couple of other things all together. And so you're going there and you could buy a new graphic card, buy a new computer, copy some games, buy these games, but in a copied way. So in a Western thinking, you know, illegally, but no copyright law, so why not? Then even after '94, when the copyright law was established and the retail started booming and everything, the retail infrastructure started developing a lot, people still had this habit. So this computer markets were going on for another, you know, 5 or 10 years because people are like, the thinking was, if I want to get something computer related, in Warsaw, I go on Saturday to the central place, like was Grzybowska Street, for example, in Warsaw, and in Wrocław was something else. And every single city had such a center. I was going there to meet friends, to hang out, like a weekly copy party concept, fans gathering and talking and exchanging stuff. And I met a lot of people that I was working with later on, and I met a lot of business contacts there, I mean actually here in Warsaw, on the computer market.
Das sozialistische Polen Anfang der 80er Jahre war recht isoliert von der westlichen Computerwelt. Computerläden oder gar Computerspiele waren im Kommunismus nicht vorgesehen. Auch das Reisen in den Westen war für die meisten Bürger nicht erlaubt und aufgrund der niedrigeren Löhne lag der Import westlicher Hard- und Software in weiter Ferne. Das einzige Schlupfloch waren Computermärkte, auf denen sich findige Leute trafen, Kontakte austauschten und mit begehrten Dingen handelten, die man sonst nicht so leicht bekam. darunter Computerspiele.
And then there are some people coming. On the weekend they're bringing, I don't know, a new graphic card, new computer, a new game, new something, new magazines. So I was browsing through these magazines and I saw at the end of the year Sinclair an ad, actually a couple game swapping. I wrote to a couple of people, one of them being a gentleman from Greece. So I wrote a very simple letter. Hey, my name is Marcin. I'm from Poland. I love games. However, I don't have any new games. Could you send me some, please? Then 3 weeks later, I got a cassette tape with brand new games for Spectrum. I brought them to the market and I was the guy. I was the best. I was the king of the hill. One of them being Target Renegade, a game I very well remember. It was like a Double Dragon style beat 'em up. And then I thought, wow, it works. Then on Amiga, I already got a modem, so I was exchanging faster than on PC. And then through these contacts, because I really expanded my network, I had a lot of contacts. I was actually not sleeping much. I was sleeping during classes in my high school because I was talking to these guys and swapping on modems till 4 or 5 a.m. daily. That's how I learned English, because I was talking to people non-stop. So there are good things related to games, a lot of them actually. One of these guys, I think it was a guy from Indiana, he said, hey, I just bought a CD-ROM reader and I started playing games on CD-ROMs that are so cool. I was like, wow, great. The CD-ROM reader back then was just a total novelty and was super expensive. A couple $100 for us was like a lot of money. I gathered all my savings and I bought one. I imported one and a couple of games, some of them being like Seven the Guest, Indiana Jones, Fate of Atlantis, Mad Dog McCree.
Anfang der 90er Jahre war es noch ziemlich teuer, CDs herzustellen. Zwar waren CD-Brenner relativ weit verbreitet, CD-Rohlinge dafür aber umso seltener, zumal ein einzelner einen ganzen polnischen Wochenlohn kostete. Für Spiele bedeutete die CD mehr Musik, Sprachausgabe, schärfere Texturen und ausreichend Platz für Filmsequenzen. Damals sorgte das noch für offene Münder.
Amazing graphics, sound quality, full soundtrack and whatnot. Like for us today, it's like, it's not good enough. But back in the day, it was, I think, probably like a jump from Spectrum to Amiga, or maybe Spectrum to like Super VGA. The fascination of being able to put a lot of data on one disc was like, wow. And it totally blew me away. I showed it to my high school friend Michał. He was really good with sales and, was making good business out of it. And he said, Marcin, maybe we could sell some. So I started talking this friend from Indiana and introduced me to a wholesaler. This wholesaler was specialized in a different kind of entertainment because they were mostly selling XXX CD-ROMs. However, they had a small game section. We're not tempted, we never got any. So I got like a couple of made a risk, I made a bet. I got like 5 games, like literally 5, not 5 per title, 5 in total. And Michał took it to the weekend markets and he sold them with a huge markup because people were starting to get CD-ROMs, there were no games. And everybody was fascinated how well Seven Guests looks. It still looks pretty good, I think. Then the week after I took more and more and more. After 3 months we thought, wow. So we started a partnership company, and that's when CD Projekt was founded. It was around April 94.
Als die Schulfreunde Marcin und Michał im April 1994 CD Projekt gründeten, hatten sie mit dem Verkauf von Spielen bereits einige Erfahrung gesammelt. Nun aber galt es, Spiele im größeren Stil zu vertreiben. Und das brachte viele neue Herausforderungen mit sich.
I had no clue whatsoever. 19 maybe. You have to do accounting, you have to raise invoices, you have to pay taxes. Yes, it's hard. You have to start importing legally. Normally, we're still getting some CD-ROMs without customs, like small packages with few units. It didn't have much value. We were really struggling for the first 2 or 3 years. As long as it was small, it was manageable. That after 3 or 4 years, we've grown to the size of 20, 30 people, and it was hard because we were totally not experienced. I mean, I was studying management, but I was studying while doing it, so I think I learned more while running the company than I learned at the university.
Heutzutage kümmert sich in den meisten Fällen ein Publisher um die Übersetzung eines Spiels. Anders in den 90er Jahren. Damals übersetzten Entwickler ihre Spiele kurzerhand selbst in die Sprachen, in denen sie am meisten Umsatz erwarteten. Etwa ins Deutsche oder Französische. Angesichts der schwierigen Sprache und des kleinen Absatzmarktes waren die Spiele in Polen jedoch meist nur auf Englisch erhältlich. Weil die meisten polnischen Spieler kein Englisch sprachen, blieben sie so ein Nischenprodukt. Um dem entgegenzuwirken, wurde CD Projekt erster offizieller polnischer Distributor für Computerspiele und produzierte Spieleboxen und Handbücher in polnischer Sprache. Dies war für die damalige Zeit ein absolutes Novum. Damit hatte CD Projekt sein Geschäftsmodell gefunden. In der Anfangszeit lag die größte Konkurrenz allerdings in den Raubkopien. Diese waren günstiger und an jeder Ecke erhältlich. Das polnische Unternehmen musste die Spieler also durch eine hochwertige Aufmachung vom legalen Kauf überzeugen.
We first started with, we call it box and docs. So we're localizing the box and the manual. And then as gamers, we thought it would be cool if the game would be in Polish, because the more text heavy the game was, the more difficult it was to experience it fully. And you know, until this very day, if I'm playing, for example, The Witcher 3, I have no problem playing it in English and I understand everything, but there's maybe 1 or 2% of this kind of small little details.
So, might be my birthday, but I say...
Ale twoje zdrowie. A teraz opowiedz, co u ciebie.
That's why I played in Polish. And back in the day, people didn't know English well. So automatically the market was much smaller for English games. But you know, as I said before, it was this vicious circle in thinking like, you know, it's too small, so it's not worth to take a risk. But we always wanted to do it because we believed it will work. We never thought it will go that big, that we can excite people so much. We initially started with the full localization of older titles because actually nobody wanted to give us new ones. So we started with Ace Ventura from 7th level.
Ace, zadzwoń do mamy! Trzymaj się, papa!
Jej wyrażenia są tak piekielnie słodziutkie.
And then we did Pink Panther from MGM. And then we saw, wow, there's a lot of traction, a lot of hype. Also, you know, if you do something as the first, it always gives you a lot of credit. So imagine you're going to a supermarket, there's a game section, and there's one game in German. What a choice. Maybe I'll get this one in German. And that was the beginning of it. And this sort of established our position. Then we made a huge bet with localizing Baldur's Gate. We actually put the fate of the whole company on it. We invested everything we had. We had huge fear when we were signing the agreement because we signed like a financial commitment for 3,000 units. Then we invested a lot into localization marketing.
Die komplette Lokalisierung von BioWares Rollenspiel-Epos Baldur's Gate brachte das noch junge Unternehmen an die Grenze des Machbaren. Zusätzlich zur eigentlichen Übersetzung sollte die polnische Version auch noch Sammlerwert besitzen. Auf 5 CDs wurde das fertige Spiel in einer großen Box ausgeliefert. Dazu legte CD Projekt noch eine Landkarte als Dungeons & Dragons Goodie bei. Außerdem galt es, 1500 Seiten Text ins Polnische zu übersetzen und komplett neu zu vertonen.
Kazał ci uciekać. Nie niszczy to jednak uczucia niemocy, jaka cię teraz ogarnia. Wydaj dziecko, którym się opiekujesz, mówił zakuty w stal potwór.
Marcins Vater hatte als Dokumentarfilmer Verbindungen zum Filmgeschäft. So konnte CD Projekt bekannte polnische Schauspieler für das Projekt gewinnen. Zuerst wurden die Hauptfiguren, der Erzähler und die NPCs mit berühmten polnischen Schauspielern besetzt, deren markante Stimmen auch heute noch in Polen bekannt sind.
The Polish localizations for Baldur's Gate with, you know, one of my childhood favorite actors, Franceski, was just absolutely mind-blowingly amazing. And even though I actually speak better English than I speak Polish, that particular game is just, for me, it's only in Polish.
On day one, we sold 18,000, and within the first 2 years, we sold 50,000. Back in the day, an average game was selling between 1,000, maybe 2,000. That was the moment when we knew we were safe, for some time, of course. And we established a new quality level. On our boxes, we had a logo, we had a small seal saying like PL for Polish, and then around it was saying professional Polish version by CD Projekt. And it was a sign of quality because our localizations were the best. So, and always we were looking, what was the suggested retail price of the game? Is it fair for what the game is offering? So we're fighting for lower prices for Polish games. We're putting a lot of physical goodies in the box, obviously to battle pirates, because piracy was overwhelming. But because we were offering such a good value, actually people were educating themselves that buying legal games makes sense. So we're never threatening them or fighting with pirates in courts. Yes, courts were asking us for opinion whenever the title of a certain company that we were representing was being pirated, but you cannot battle it with a stick. Yes, only education, and only when people see the benefit of owning a legal copy, only then you can really change the market.
Der Erfolg von Baldur's Gate ebnete den Weg für weitere Vertriebsvereinbarungen mit bekannten Namen wie Atari, Cryo, Konami, Microsoft, Sega und Ubisoft. Auch an den polnischen Lokalisierungen wurde eifrig weitergearbeitet.
We signed with Interplay, we signed with Blue Byte, so the Siedler, and we started with part 2 in English, then we convinced Blue Byte to localize the third one to Polish. It was a huge hit. And then, we signed more and more was coming. Of course, certain companies like EA, Westwood. We were always looking for the best games, and we're trying to find partners who think alike. Even maybe a bit less about business, but more about games and excitement. If we're able to create this bond and excitement, there were hours for years. We've grown the business significantly. We moved to other countries, so in Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, sort of replicated the model. But at a certain point, we saw, the market started growing a lot, and the Western companies, like the content owners and publishers, started sort of applying more and more control and pressure. And this is nothing bad, because that's how it grows, but they were also limiting our role. So from the time when, like Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, we were deciding on the cast, on the marketing, on the PR, on the ads. We are shaping the product and tailoring to the taste of Western gamers, and having a nice margin as well. They were taking away the tools from our hands and saying okay, we do the localization, we do the box, we do this, we do that. And we saw that the time is coming on the market where we'll be just like a box shifter. And we are never good in the distribution per se with Michał. We're good in hyping and choosing games and talking about them and talking to gamers. That was always our core competence.
CD Projekt verstand den polnischen Markt besser als jeder andere und hatte als Pionier den Weg für die polnische Übersetzung von Spielen geebnet. Das bedeutete gleichzeitig neue Konkurrenz für das junge Unternehmen. Denn auch andere Publisher, die der Lokalisierung bislang kritisch gegenüberstanden, wollten nun etwas vom Kuchen abhaben. Bald eröffneten einzelne Firmen in Warschau eigene Büros und vertrieben ihre Spiele nun selbst. Und auch die Raubkopierer-Szene blieb nicht untätig. Zahlreiche Raubkopien von CD Projekts lokalisierten Spielen kursierten auf den Märkten und stellten das Unternehmen vor neue Probleme. Eine neue Vertriebsidee musste also her.
And pirates, whatever we release, fully localized or not, 24, 48 hours on the flea markets all around, it's available, silver pressed, mass produced, for a fraction of a price. Hard to fight with. So we came up with an idea of a budget range. So pretty much something affordable, older, and we called it the extra classics. It was a very nice Amaray DVD box, localized to Polish, fully patched, a manual 16 up to 32 pages, nice cover, a number, so of course we wanted you to collect the whole series. and a price of 19 zloty, 19.99. It was cheaper than Pirates. Why? Because Pirates were charging 20 zloty per CD. We're cheaper. And then we went to all the retail and especially hypermarkets, where people didn't have the habit of buying a new expensive full price game. And they were buying, I don't know, bread, butter. Wow, there is a nice standee with games. Wow, there's this cool strategy game, like Europa Universalis 1. Bam! To the basket, it's good price. Very often, this was the first original game people bought in their life. It started from there. At the peak of the market, I think we were selling 2 million a year, 3 million a year of these cheaper games. And it was nice for business, but it was super important for education, because then they had no fear. And there was, full customer support and like, you're buying a legal game. It was like, wow, legal game is cool. Having the collection of games is cool.
Parallel zum Erfolg der Extra Classics wuchs bei CD Projekt der Wunsch, selbst Computerspiele zu entwickeln. Den Anfang sollte eine PC-Portierung des PlayStation 2-Spiels Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance machen. Diese Idee entstand, als CD Projekt seine Partnerfirma Interplay im kalifornischen Irvine besuchte. Daraufhin nahmen die Polen mit Interplay Europe Kontakt auf und flogen nach London. Dort bekamen sie das PlayStation 2 Developer Kit, das sie im Handgepäck zurück nach Polen schmuggelten. Doch bereits kurze Zeit später brach Interplay das Projekt frühzeitig ab. Die Begründung: finanzielle Probleme. Die bereits geleistete Entwicklungsarbeit floss nun in CD Projekts erstes eigenes Computerspiel, The Witcher, ein. Damit war der Grundstein einer neuen, erfolgreichen Spielreihe gelegt.
We had The Witcher 1. We thought we would really like to go into digital distribution. We would like to move our business more global, because we think, like looking at how successful we are with Witcher 1, that we understand not only Polish gamers but gamers all around the world, because actually they are very similar.
One of the things that CDP, as the company, as a distributor of games, was doing, they were releasing a lot of classics. At the same time, when you look at the rest of the world, of course, there was always a push for the AAAs, the new titles, new releases, and the shelf space was limited. And as a result, if you didn't buy the game on a release date, and let's say within the first couple of years, it was just impossible to find them in a store later on. So I would say Poland was a very unique and different from the rest of the world. And actually, this is one of the ideas and like kind of created this DNA for GOG. Like, we knew this works. We knew there are people who want to rediscover those titles. And one of the days, I was actually approached by Michał Kiciński. Michał Kiciński was one of the founders of the whole CD Projekt, together with Marcin Iwiński. They were just like, friends from high school who started this whole thing. And Michał approached me, hey, I have this crazy idea. And just for the record, Michał had always lots of crazy ideas. So actually, it was more crazy than I have assumed, because it was basically like, so we have an idea, and also I want you to start building this, by the way, and you should start doing this right now. I got a small piece of paper. It was just a sticky note, actually, on the meeting with Michał, and it was basically was DRM-free, 2 price points, super easy user experience, classic games, and that's it, right? And today it's really like shocking to me, how within 30 minutes of talking with Michał, I had like my whole priorities and plans basically reshuffled. I was like completely sold on the project and saying, okay, when can I start? Like, can I start working on it at the very next day?
Die Idee für GOG war also geboren. Doch die Suche nach Publishern, die sich auf das neue Abenteuer mit alten Spielen einlassen wollten, gestaltete sich äußerst mühevoll. Die Vorgabe, die Spiele ohne DRM, also ohne Kopierschutz anzubieten, erschwerte die Pionierarbeit für Retro-Spiele enorm.
It is always difficult with the first, yes, because there are some guys coming to you that have no track record, because we didn't. Definitely the advantage was that we had business relations with all these people before, because we were distributing the products, who were not guys out of nowhere. But we didn't have a digital distribution platform, we had nothing. So before we launched, we needed content, because without content we couldn't launch. So we started convincing them, but always the most difficult part was DRM-free.
I think for nearly a year. I think they were knocking on every possible door, like every company they were aware that exists in the world. The way it usually went was, oh, that's a really cool idea, guys. We want to have classics there, and it's great because we don't monetize classics, and you're saying you will do everything. So that's great because we have no time to deal with this, but did you say it was DRM-free? It's like, yeah, oh, sorry. So guys, it's an amazing idea, but just let us know once you sign someone else. That was basically it, for every company, thankfully, with the exception of Interplay at the time and Codemasters.
Interplay, finally, we just gave them such a good offer they couldn't refuse. I don't know, maybe they thought that maybe we are a bit crazy. But we convinced them, and I still remember we discussed, I said, hey, we should have at least some calculation how many we can sell, just anything. So what I did, I took the Polish sales per title and I multiplied it by something. I don't know what, like 2 or 3? I said, so let's say if we sell twice as many copies per title in a worldwide scale, if this can be profitable. It was, and we sold 50 times more.
Nachdem die ersten Partner an Bord waren, setzte ein regelrechter Schneeballeffekt ein. Zwar wollte niemand das Risiko eingehen und der erste Publisher auf GOG.com sein, am Ende traten die Publisher aber von sich aus an GOG heran. Allerdings reichte es nicht aus, einfach nur die Lizenzen zu bekommen. Die alten Spiele mussten für den digitalen Vertrieb auch aufbereitet werden.
We work hard on these games to make them compatible, because even if you were able to buy a vintage copy, let's say on eBay, it wasn't working because it wasn't compatible with your system. Then we created like huge value for gamers. And it was DRM-free, you could download it, you had the feeling of ownership. So really all these important things for us, because actually partly we planned it for ourselves.
Ohne viel Werbung, aber mit umso mehr Neugierde der Retro-Spiele-Fans geht GOG.com 2008 online. Der erste verfügbare Titel ist Interplays abgedrehter Shooter MDK aus dem Jahr 1997.
When we launched GOG, for many years we haven't spent $1 for marketing. That was the power of the idea. It was simple, it was fair, and gamers loved it. And then, there were more partners coming on board, but until this very day, we were not able to convince some. Although, right now we have a zillion of data of facts, Witcher 3 being the most stellar example, that huge game being DRM-3, if it's a good value, people will still buy it. But there are people who always say, no, there is no DRM, no, we're afraid. At the same time, it's all available on torrent, doesn't matter. The illegal version is 3 clicks away, but there is fear. But for a huge amount of developers, we have over 500 partners, even more right now on GOG. DRM-free works, and that's really what gamers want. It just worked out of the box pretty much.
Der Platzhirsch im digitalen Vertrieb ist Valves Plattform Steam, die aber nicht in direkter Konkurrenz mit GOG.com steht. Denn die Polen haben sich auf ältere Spiele spezialisiert und besetzen als eine Art Nostalgie-Steam eine wichtige Nische.
From the start, GOG was a global idea, yeah, but it was never a project built around the idea of being a Steam rival or a competition. I think if you position a project, you build a project, you should start with this thinking, how can we change something for the better? How can we give something maybe to users that the other platform, device, software doesn't give? And maybe we didn't even knew it at the time, but we definitely did that.
Bis heute hat GOG.com mehrere Millionen Spieletitel verkauft und sein Portfolio mehrmals erweitert. Inzwischen bietet die Plattform neben Klassikern auch aktuelle Spiele an, was wir im zweiten Teil unserer GOG-Dokumentation näher beleuchten. Außerdem erklären wir die Hintergründe, wie alte Spiele einer Frischzellenkur unterzogen werden, um auch auf heutigen Systemen zu laufen. Im zweiten Teil blicken wir also mitten ins Herz von GOG.
Ja, das war sie also, die erste Folge unserer dreiteiligen Video-Doku über GOG.com. Wenn ihr die zweite Folge jetzt schon sehen wollt, dann schaut doch mal bei GameStar Plus vorbei, und zwar hier. Da gibt's auch weitere Dokus, zum Beispiel über Entwicklerstudios wie Piranha Bytes und Egosoft und außerdem exklusive Hintergrundartikel, Interviews, Podcasts, Titelgeschichten, Vollversionen und Gewinnspiele. Also schaut mal vorbei, ich würde mich drüber freuen.